Welcome back to the Mini Festival from Brands Hatch and the third race in the Mini Challenge Championship. It's the turn of the Cooper Pros. Robbie Dalgleish hoping to add to his points haul. So, let's go racing.
Welcome back to Brands Hatch, and our third class that we're going to look at today is the Mini Challenge Cooper Pro stroke Cooper cars. The pros running in the 135 brake horsepower R50s, and the AM class, the Mini Cooper, running on 120 bhp. Two separate grids, and the outright championship, the pro category, led by Robbie Dalgleish, who finished second yesterday to the man who's currently second in the championship, and that's Toby Goodman, the Accelerate racing driver. And third yesterday was Lydia Walmsley. So again, a theme that you'll see from Mini Challenge racing is that, unlike a lot of other championships, we have a lot of quick lady racers encouraged to come in and doing a great job with their racing. We've also got Hannah Chapman racing in this group as well. But the grid sees Toby Goodman starting on pole position from his win yesterday, Robbie Dalgleish alongside, then Lydia Walmsley and Dom Wheatley on row 2. Alex Neville, last year's amateur class champion, is 5th on the grid. Then Hannah Chapman. In fact, Hannah's starting 8th because there was a penalty yesterday, so ahead of Hannah will be Morgan Root and Martin Paul. Then Hannah, James Hillary and James Goodall completing the pro group. The AM class, headed by 9th in the championship, Lee Pearce, who won yesterday, second win of the season. Josh Porter was second yesterday from Lawrence Harris. And then Paul Manning, who is the championship leader. Paul having a wheel come off actually after he crossed the line. He was third until a late safety car, but managed to get the car home to 4th place. Then Josh Martin and Adrian Norman, Mark Cornell and Michael Paul, followed by Archie O'Brien. Archie's got an absolute stinker of a cold. I don't know if he's out there or not. I hope he is. James Parker should be next to him on the grid. And then Andy Ringland at the back. The car we're looking for towards the back, if it's there, is the number 80 car. There is 66, Andy Ringland, who was the only DNF yesterday. Not sure if Archie is there. He should be the third car from the back. A white car with a blue logo on. Logo of Crudo, which is an app for airline people, believe it or not, to find things to do. Crudo, find things to do in various airports around the world. So it's a good little app, that. But on pole position, it is Toby Goodman in the blue and white, the red and white car of Robbie Dalgleish. Robbie leading this championship, not only this championship, but also the leader of the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup as well. And he'll lose the lead of that this weekend because they're racing up at Knockhill. But he's decided to come down and defend the championship lead here. Row 2, Lydia Walmsley in yellow. Then the number 14 of Dom Wheatley, another ex-Scottish championship driver, with 5 seconds to go before the first of 2 races for these cars. 15 minutes, we could really do with longer, but that's what we've got, and away we go. The lead group, the pro cars away, and a super start by Toby Goodman, who leads from Robbie Dalgleish. Then Lydia Walmsley in 3rd place as they go into Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. Side by side running there, and we've got a spinner. Across the circuit goes Alex Neville in the Lawrence Davey prepared car. Last year's amateur champion will hopefully get going again. There's Morgan Root in the 38, the ex-rallycross driver. Youngster met for the first time this weekend. Very keen family and come from North Lincolnshire, enjoying their racing. Very quiet lad is Morgan. But we then pick up on the AM class drivers who are getting stuck in there. 36, Mark Cornell, who started in 7th place, but it's Toby Goodman out front. Robbie Dalgleish is busy challenging him at the moment in the 91. Dalgleish was 3rd in the Scottish Championship 2017 and 2018, where he cut his teeth, and you'll find a lot of Scotsmen and Scotswomen as well coming up into National Mini Challenge, having cut their teeth predominantly at Knockhill. They do have away race days as well, but it gives them a very good grounding of the car. And we've had some quick drivers coming into the championship, including Kyle Reid, who was last year's pro champion. He's having a guest outing this weekend in the JCW class. And Kyle Reid, as you said, very successful driver. I'll talk more about the Scots as the race continues, if I'm able to. We've got some very impressive stats about those, but the first slow lap there was clearly quickest by the race leader, Toby Goodman, who will start to come under a bit of pressure. Youngster from Tame. And there is Robbie Dalgleish, who's starting to put a little bit of pressure on. Robbie settling in nicely. It was Dom Wheatley in third place as they came across the line. Lydia Walmsley, after a second podium of the season, is in fourth place. And Dom Wheatley yesterday picking up his best result of the season so far at this level. Fourth position, opened the year with a fifth, but improved on that yesterday, and he's gaining a lot more experience. Another driver to come through the Scottish Championship as Dalgleish is piling the pressure on. Looks to the outside line now of Toby Goodman, who's got the right line though, coming into Druids. Outside line though for Dalgleish, challenges. Slots back into line. He'll be thinking about the run down Graham Hill now and into Graham Hill Bend. Is he going to go for the wider racing line? He thought about having a look down the inside there, so it was a late decision to take the racing line. Watch for track limits there at Graham Hill Bend. He's now looking up the inside line. It's fair to say Dalgleish may be looking the quicker of the two. Draws level and a little tap on the two cars. Is that going to dislodge the 85 car? It doesn't. And a good move through into the lead for Robbie Dalgleish. The championship leader goes through. He's looking for his third win of the season. Hasn't been off the podium so far. And Dom Wheatley coming up into the mix as well. So Dalgleish putting yesterday's second position behind him. Second position, you know, not a disappointment at all for him. But now the complexion of the race changes, as you'll know, because Goodman won't have the pressure on him. Well, he'll have a little bit from Dom Wheatley, second generation racer. You might remember Des Wheatley, his dad racing in various things over the years. And Toby Goodman now putting the pressure on Dalgleish. And that is trademark. Great stuff from Goodman, who has not been dishevelled by that. And he'll get on with the job of chasing. So the hunted becomes the hunter now as they go down along Cooper Straight once again. Dalgleish, 19 wins in Scotland, 35 podia, 16 fastest laps, 7 career pole positions, and leads the Scottish Championship at the moment, but his mind is very much here on this national level championship. And look at the pressure from Toby Goodman, very close indeed. There might have even been the lightest of touches there, but because first and second are battling hard, we've got the third and fourth place cars coming into the mix as well. And Dom Wheatley's got a problem. Wheatley goes wide, Lydia Walmsley up into third place. Now, what's the problem with Dom Wheatley's car? Has he missed a gear? Got some sort of... He's dropped him well back. He's no longer in contention for the lead, which is still Dalgleish. But Lydia Walmsley will now take up the mantle of that chaser. And Morgan Root is there, coming through into fourth place. This is super stuff from Morgan Root. From seventh on the grid, he's up into fourth. And immediately behind him, I think that's Martin Poole in the 49 car, who was race winner at Snetterton Race 2. Indeed it is there. So the top 5 cars all very much together. We do have the AM class racing going on as well. I'm going to have a quick look at the timing and see if we can pick out, as Goodman thinks about going wide to gain momentum, but Lydia Walmsley has got less pressure on her at the moment in third place in blue and yellow. It's Lee Pearce, I think, still leading the AM class at the moment from Josh Porter in the 94, who is second. Lawrence Harris is third in that class, and we'll try and show you a little bit of those a little bit later on. But rightly focusing on the lead battle here, which is the most important thing for the pro category. And Toby Goodman, as I said, was not phased as Morgan Root goes up the inside line and manages to pass Lydia Walmsley. Superb stuff from Morgan Root. I said he's a youngster who's very, very quiet, but lets the racing speak for himself. And Lydia Walmsley now defending fourth place, but it's a wide move there from the 59 car going through and trying to go back on the outside line and reclaim the position. 49 car, I should say. Martin Poole, who is looking for that fourth place now, as Toby Goodman will see a gap behind him, and this is going to free up a little bit more of a chance for Goodman to have a go at the race leader. Walmsley down to fifth place now as the leaders come out of Clark Curve onto the Bravham Straight once again. Dalgleish has got a little bit of clear air between him. And in fact, as I look down from the commentary position here, it's around about a car and a half's length. Still under big pressure though. Lydia Walmsley still there in 5th place, the 17-year-old lady racer from Ipswich. Cut her teeth at Ella Parker's. Goodman looks around the outside line, putting the pressure on here, and goodness me, Robbie Dalgleish knows that he's in a battle here, and this is going to, the only thing this will do is maybe bring the 3rd, 4th and 5th place cars into the mix. So Goodman's still there and challenging the race leader, Robbie Dalgleish. It was Goodman who qualified on pole position yesterday. Lee Pearce doing the same in the AM class and is continuing to lead that as he did yesterday. So Poole trying to close in. Martin Poole started 8th, so he's definitely on a little bit of a run here as the lead quintet come through and tick off another lap, virtually at half distance here in this 15-minute race for round 6 of this year's championship. And having a look on the outside line was Toby Goodman. He's going to cut back and go on the inside line. Dom Wheatley is still running, so maybe an intermittent fault on Dom's car, which hit him at the wrong time, but the 14 car is still running as Goodman again takes a wide line, and Morgan Root looks up the inside line. Didn't need a second invitation for that. And can Morgan Root grab the position? No, he can't, but he slots back in just ahead of the 49 car of Martin Poole to defend 3rd position. Morgan Root here looking for a maiden podium in Mini Challenge. He's working hard, but the inside line has been grabbed by Martin Poole, who takes the position away from him. And Lydia Walmsley's there as well in the Morris Lubricants car, but it's the Credo Motorsport Finance car chasing the Evolution 91 car of Robbie Dalgleish up front. Morgan Root wants 3rd position back. The youngster having a very, very good go. 16-year-old from Doncaster, 1st season in car racing. As I said, raced in Junior Rallycross in a Suzuki Swift, and was telling us earlier on that he was struggling to find sponsors for that, but as soon as he switched over to Minis, he was quite happy. Now there's Paul Manning, who leads the AM Class Championship, and Paul is at the moment down behind that's the 89 car, Josh Martin. Martin running in 4th place in the AM class, the class still led by Lee Pearce from Josh Porter, with Lawrence Harris in 3rd place. Here is the race leader going through. There is Josh Porter in the Rocket Branding Space car. You can see from the yellow square black cross on the back of the car, newcomer to motor racing this year. Highly encouraged that if you're looking at coming in, and during the break between races I was talking to some drivers that are looking at coming in and racing for next year, and they've been absolutely enthralled with what they've seen this weekend. And I can tell you there's at least 3 drivers that I've bumped into today alone that look at coming Mini Challenge racing next year, be it JCW, be it Pro or AM Group or Cooper S. There's so many choices for drivers to come in at the appropriate level depending on sponsors. So Pearce coming under pressure here from Porter. A good battle for the lead of the AM class. And remember, they're running in the 120 brake horsepower Mini Cooper, and it's close stuff there. The 154 car, 3rd position in class, is Lawrence Harris. This is his 2nd meeting of the year. Had a good chat with him and his dad Kevin yesterday. And Lawrence is a mobile radiographer. He went away, reminds me very much of the circuit owner here, Jonathan Palmer, who was racing and completed his studies as a doctor. And Lawrence Harris has done a similar thing, raced a fair amount in karts and did well, and then went away, set up his business aspirations, a mobile radiographer, would you believe, and now come back to racing this year. Had a podium first time out, and that was in round 1 at Snetterton. Didn't do Alton Park, but he's back with us this weekend. His dad's a bit of a character as well. He's Britain's oldest kickboxer, would you believe, and a good guy. Through goes Alex Neville, who's recovering after his moment off earlier on, but this is back with a battle for the overall lead in the pro category, and a superb race here between Robbie Dalgleish and Toby Goodman. And I take my hat off to Toby here. He is 2nd in the championship, coming to Brands Hatch, 12 points behind after drop scores. But he's not letting the fact that Robbie got the lead faze him at all. And as soon as the lead went, he's back to chasing. There's no gap on the inside there, but the 3rd place man is in the mix as well. That's Martin Poole, 49 car. And Martin, the man from Preston, privateer, getting well stuck in and now grabs that 2nd position from Toby Goodman. Lydia Walmsley's going to have a go as well. So Martin Poole feels that the chase could well be with him. Who's the fastest man on track at the moment? It's actually Hannah Chapman in car number 8. So Hannah has got the fastest lap of the race, really finding some pace this weekend as Martin Poole looks to the outside line here, and that just leaves the door open for Toby Goodman and maybe Lydia Walmsley to come back through as well. But Martin's hanging on the outside line here, which converts to the inside racing line at Graham Hill Bend, and he maintains a potential podium position ahead of Lydia Walmsley. So a good drive through from him. Morgan Root is now behind Dom Wheatley, who's come back ahead of him in the 14 car. So Wheatley is at the back of this group, having dropped back a fair way and showing some good pace. Hannah Chapman in car number 8. We haven't seen Hannah yet, but she's the fastest, I was going to say fastest man on track, the fastest driver on track here. Hannah, another driver who's come through in the Scottish Championship, was newcomers champion there 2014, twice times ladies champion in Scotland as well. And if we look back, she's in the car, she always names her cars, and the car is called Kylie. Previous car was called Lola, and she's entertained people at Scotland with her racing for many seasons. 3 wins, 16 podia, 5 fastest laps as the battle for second overall goes side by side once again. And I tell you what, considering they're squabbling hard here, I'm surprised Robbie Dalgleish hasn't been able to pull away. But it's Martin Poole going back into second position, but he's gone wide. This is going to allow Toby Goodman back on the inside. Now they are, I think, slowing each other up, and the 81 car of Robbie Dalgleish could well get away. Goodman back into second place. Poole trying to hang on to it, holds the inside line, grabs a bit of curb. This is fantastic mini challenge racing going on here. And now look at Lydia Walmsley getting involved as well in yellow, gets a wide line. Hannah Chapman is at the back of the group, so Hannah's caught them up. She finished in 6th on the road yesterday, so she'll know she's got it within her to finish further up the order. And Hannah Chapman is now exploring the outside line as they come across the straight. As I said, I thought should have happened, now has happened, with Robbie Dalgleish starting to build a bit of a lead over Martin Poole in P2. Toby Goodman still there in 3rd and fighting hard. And this battle now, look at it, multi-car battle for second position. If you want to come racing and you want to learn your way in towards the world of the touring cars, this is the best place to learn, as Goodman looks down the inside but backed out of that. That was great timing by Toby Goodman, realised there wasn't room, backed out of it, but he's lost momentum. And Lydia Walmsley is coming up now, side by side. They knock the mirrors askew, and the Morris Lubricants car's coming through on the inside line, but that converts to the outside of McLaren. But it's opened up the door for Dom Wheatley to come back through. Wheatley makes another place, and Lydia Walmsley, who was 3rd earlier on, loses a place. But it's Robbie Dalgleish who is still there. That's the number 4 car, Michael Paul, in the A-Reeve Motorsport prepared for AM-class car. And we fully expect the race leaders to get into a little bit of traffic with the AM-class cars as the race goes on. But that's the lead. That is a hard-earned lead. Only 0.6 of a second, believe it or not, between Dalgleish and Poole, 1st and 2nd. Goodman still there, though, goes up the inside line. Dom Wheatley next up. Then Lydia Walmsley, who's still trying to get back past the number 14 car. And then there is Hannah Chapman in the number 8. So Kylie, the car is called, having a good go. And Hannah Chapman here, the battle of the 2 leading ladies in the championship. Lydia Walmsley runs 4th in the championship table. Hannah a little way further back in the championship standings as we watch the young Scot, Robbie Dalgleish, the championship leader, looking to extend the lead out. I think the lead came down broadly to around about 6 points again. The top 6 drivers' fastest laps count for extra points, so a little bit difficult to give us the exact points for you on our live feed. I can't believe it, the clock has actually expired. Look at that, 5 seconds to go. So we're going to be on the last race. We could have done with this running a lot longer. Superb racing, always leave the crowd wanting more, they say. Robbie Dalgleish out front, Martin Poole in 2nd place. He's going to mirror what he did in round 1 of the year. He won round 2. So not too shabby a result for Martin Poole. Doesn't drop any points. He's still 6th in the championships. Might pull him up towards the top 4. And a little tag on the back end of one of the AM-class cars there by Lydia Walmsley. And it's Archie O'Brien, who did go out to race. We were talking about Archie in the build-up, who's a 16-year-old from Suffolk, who is suffering in more ways than one. He's got bad man flu today and then gets tapped off the track as well. Such a shame for Archie and his family who are here watching. But down towards what should be the checker flag, and indeed is going to be the checker flag. It's closer than it was on the previous lap, but Robbie Dalgleish takes the win. Martin Poole second, Toby Goodman third, Lydia Walmsley is in fourth ahead of Hannah Chapman, who comes through for fifth place. Hannah Chapman, that's got to be her best result of the year, and indeed best result at national level. Superb to see, and a great response to the penalty she picked up yesterday. I'll tell you what, I've been watching Hannah race for years, and indeed Robbie Dalgleish, in 10 years commentating on the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup, which is a superb grounding. What about the AM class though? And it's Pearce again that takes the win. So a win ahead of Josh Porter, and in third position once again goes to Lawrence Harris, but it was Lee Pearce in the 23 car, the man from Felsted, who took the win. Self-prepared car, 23, and I thought I recognised the name. That's an oval racing family, isn't it? The Pearces in car number 23, and a superb job done from them. Now, was it Dad or Grandad that used to race in the Formula 1 V8 stock cars going back in the day? I have to go down and have a word with them in the pit lane at the end of racing for this morning. But absolutely wonderful, right? 2 races. We couldn't show you everything. We can't have cameras on the pros and the AMs, but we tried to give you a flavour of what was going on in both of those, and I think the directors did a super job of picking up the key points of that race for us there. So it was Robbie Dalgleish who takes another win, extends the championship lead. You pick up 50 points for the win, 44 for second place. So if you finish second and get fastest lap, and the winner doesn't get any fastest lap points, then technically you can get the same as the race winner in terms of the championship points. So there we go. I'm just going to grab the result, and then we'll be able to talk you through who finished where in that one before we look ahead to what we've got. Remember, we've got a reverse grid race for the last race of the weekend, and now I thought I'd grabbed the result there, but it doesn't look like I have at the moment. Yeah, here we go back to it. So Robbie Dalgleish taking the win. Second position goes to Martin Poole. Third place was Toby Goodman, and a good race from Goodman. He won't be pleased with the result, but did well. Lydia Walmsley was in fourth place after the podium yesterday, but a good consistent racer is Lydia. Then Hannah Chapman right behind her. Hannah Chapman also getting the fastest lap, 57.874. So well done to Hannah, extra 6 points to her. Dom Wheatley fought back very well. He was up racing for a podium position earlier on, dropped back and then fought back to join the group. And also in seventh place behind Dom Wheatley was Morgan Root. Super drive early stages from him, and sign of great things to come from that 16-year-old. Finishes in seventh place. Eighth, and an encouraging result for another ex-junior driver, Fiesta junior driver James Hillary, in car number 2, again with the A-Reeve team, finishes in 8th place. Then it was James Goodall in 9th, the top 10 completed by Alex Neville, who was recovering, and the 11th place was the first AM-class car, which was the 23 machine of Lee Pearce, followed by Josh Porter second. Third was Lawrence Harris, second podium of the weekend for him as well. And then Josh Martin fourth, ahead of Paul Manning, who actually dropped to 5th in class, the championship leader. Paul being prepared by his son James, who, funny enough, I'd not met Paul before, or James, despite having commentated on the Fiesta Junior Championship for a few years. And James Manning, very unusual that Dad Paul supported James in his junior racing, and now James is engineering and supporting his dad, so a nice little story between those two. 16th was car 54, Adrian Norman in the College of West Anglia car, I think one of our older drivers. Then it was Mark Cornell, ahead of 66 Andy Ringland, and then Michael Paul was and also the 30 car James Parker. I think they were our finishes, and then Archie O'Brien was a couple of laps down after that tag that he had. Obviously, with any contact, whether it's certainly not intentional in mini racing, but you do get the odd bit of bumping and banging here and there might be a judicial to go on that. As one of my great friends once said, that when the fixtures are published, they're provisional until the races are run, and then the results are provisional. But it's a good way to get our coverage underway for the Cooper Pro and Cooper runners with a superb race. I tell you what, there might be petitions going in now for 20-minute races for those guys and girls, because it was absolutely superb stuff. And remember, we've got the reverse grid race coming up a little bit later on. That completes our sort of race 2 coverage. Still got the podium to go as well yet, which the winners will come down on. But if you want to catch up, I'm sure you will, with more mini challenge racing at just before 2:30, when we have our second race of the day, third race of the weekends for the JCW Mini Challenge. And then the Cooper S cars are back on track around about 4:15. And the guys you've just seen, guys and girls that you've just seen, the Cooper Pro Coopers, will be on track once again just before 5:30. So we've got a full afternoon of top line action. I tell you what, we haven't seen a race yet today without bags of overtaking in, and people that tell you that it's just cars going around in circles, don't believe them. The winners are coming down though on their sort of, it's not a victory lap, but it's a little victory run down through the pit lane to the crowds that are watching. There's a fair few people on the bank along the main straight. But I'll tell you what, they look, on the whole, I think on the tiredness scale, compared with what we've seen the rest of the day today, those guys look like they have been through the mill. But it was certainly a physical race on the Brands Hatch winners car. And let's just have a look to see who is down on the podium to look after us from the Brands Hatch commentary team, grabbing the podium interviews with our top 3 drivers from each of the classes. So looking at the championship points, Robbie Dalgleish will move ahead. Toby was 3rd in that one, so loses 10 race points over Robbie Dalgleish, so Robbie extending the lead out a little bit more. Coming into this round, Robbie Dalgleish drops 44 points, so again, being slightly the more successful driver, gets hit on the drop scores, but it was well worth him so far coming to this round rather than maybe racing up in Scotland. And I was trying to think who it is that's going to take over the championship lead, but I can't for the life of me remember who's running in second at the moment. As soon as I see the name, I'll remember it. But Toby Goodman, second in the championships, coming into this round on, I think, 6 points behind on race points without yesterday's fastest lap points going into the mix. It's Chris Dawes down there on the podium, incidentally. Toby drops 24 points as the drivers make their way onto the podium. The first driver to receive, that's Lawrence Harris. Josh Porter is next up, so this is the AM class drivers who are receiving the trophies, I think, from Rhea Beecham. And then the winner, Lee Pearce, who takes the win, and I will find out on background, but I'm pretty sure, being from Bromley in Kent, local round, I'm pretty sure that's the short oval racing family for the Pearces.
Congratulations. I mean, I thought you were
quick word with Chris Dawes with the winner.
Towards the end of the race, the tyre just went off, and I was just hanging on in there, so we got there in the end. I mean, I say that they reeled you in. It looked to me as though you never had to go excessively defensive, but you sure as heck had to be aware of it. Yeah, definitely. Josh, he was closing in half, so it was right on the first side, so I only wanted to let some of this manage to do it.
Certainly exciting, great win.
Thank you.
Yeah, Josh, turned to you. I mean, it did. You just reeled him in. I mean, you probably would have been filling in the sandwich though, because you had to be aware of Lawrence putting pressure on you, but you clearly had your eyes set on him.
Yeah, so I had Lawrence behind me. He's trying to overtake me as well. He's quick as well, but it took me a while to get on the pace, get back, and then I caught up. Lee Pearce, and then couldn't get past him. Good defending, very good. Good race.
Yeah, give you the confidence going into the final race, though.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that. Yeah.
Well done, Lawrence. Congratulations, another 3rd place, and you were right with them as well. I mean, it was a 3-car train.
Yeah, no, we were there. Sort of followed Josh for the first part, and then Lee came towards us at the end, and just didn't have that extra bit,
You could do. I mean, you've seen that you're in that fight. Is there anything you can do for the final race?
We've got a reverse grid for the final race, so it's going to be a bit of a mix-up and see how we do with the traffic and go from there. But so, happy to be up here again, and I just want to say a big thanks to my sponsors who are standing over there somewhere. Tim and Cheryl, they're over there, so yeah, thank you very much to them.
Sorry, you're kicking your champagne. Don't forget your champagne. Well done. Good sentiments as well. Is there a draw for these guys or no? No, it's done by the other ones, isn't it? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, don't forget your champagne. Well done, guys. So there we go. That is the Cooper class.
So Chris Dawes ushers
so we now move our attention to
drivers
the,
away from the AM class, and now the pro category.
Timing to be able to do it this
1,
way.
2, 3
in
drivers will come
position,
on.
Car number 85, Toby Goodman.
Second in the championship, third in the race.
Well done,
Toby. The first driver to join Ria.
Up onto the third step he goes.
On the
in
podium.
Second place from 7th on the grid, 49, Martin Paul.
Martin Paul, what a drive that was. From 7th position at the start, as you maybe heard Chris Dawes say there. And we knew he was capable of podium pace because double podium at the first round of the year. But there's our winner, Robbie Dalgleish, another rapid Scotsman, another Gordon Shedden. Flash in the making, I think you got there with Robbie Dalgleish, trying to emulate his countryman Kyle Reid from last season. And the Scottish Championship, as I say, it's been such a proving ground. Doing the reverse grid draw, and it's 6th position that gets reversed. So pole position to Dom Wheatley. So the front row of the grid for race 3, Dom Wheatley and Hannah Chapman in race 3. Can't wait for that. Let's see if we can pick up with Chris Dawes with the winner's interview.
I mean, that was like an absolutely brutal race back and forth, and you finally managed to get yourself on top.
Yeah, I mean, the plan, well, when I first came out onto the track and seen all that white stuff, I was like, oh, I'm starting literally right in the worst of it. So I had no idea how I'd come off the line, and to be fair, I got off not too bad, and then when I knew I could get on Toby, I would just get past him as quick as I could because he's pretty quick out there, and then it was literally like, right, defend. I just wanted to back him right up into everybody else, and then it seemed to take a while for everyone else to keep coming. I was just speaking to Martin there, he said it was like crazy fighting the whole way through the grid, which is what the Cooper Pros are kind of all about, which is kind of why we do it, you know, it's so close out there. Hopefully good racing for everyone.
Oh, it certainly was. It was absolutely fantastic. And yeah, picking up on that start, I did see it when we came out. You were probably like going, oh my gosh. But it really was a very measured start. It wasn't slow. It was just not an ounce of wheel spin. And I guess that's the best you could do.
Yeah, it was literally like get off this white stuff as quick as I could and then move straight across, try to cut off Lydia, which happened. And then, yeah, really happy with the result.
Well done, great victory, cracking job. And in second place, Martin Paul. Martin, I mean, wow, from 7th on the grid. I mean, that was one heck of a race.
Yeah, it wasn't great yesterday, but off the start about average, wasn't perfect. And then Neville spun right in front of me down Paddock Hill. I was like, oh god, which way do I have to go now? Didn't know if he was going to catch it and then reverse back a bit and hit me, or I just about managed to get around him. I think nobody actually got him in the end. And then I was slowly reeling my way into person after person, just trying to get past Root the whole time. Couldn't get past him. He was so good under brakes. And then he was punching holes, I was following through and got round the outside of him at the hairpin, and then just trying to capitalise on anybody else's mistake just to get any little bit I could, and just to manage to pull it off in the end, just second, pulling in first towards the end, a couple more laps.
I mean, that's the point, is you could have been first, but you could have also been, I think, something like 7th or something crazy like that. I mean, it was that tight.
Yeah, it's such a close grid. Like, the first 6 were in a row for half of it, so... Yeah, it could have been anywhere really. Like one mistake, he would have been out the back of the pack again.
Great job, what great second place. Third, I mean, I guess that you're probably going to be the flip of this, knowing what you're like. You prefer to be up on that top step and to be on the third, but that's how close it was out there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, of all tracks, Brands probably has the most amount of overtaking spots, so I got a really good start actually, and yeah, I managed to hold off Dalgleish around, I would say, all of the corners, but it was just the almost the straight part that was the problem, so he got me down into the flat out bit before Cascades, and unfortunately, you know, after that it sort of concertinaed up, and like you say, he managed to bunch everyone up, and from there it was just, you know, it was touring car racing. It was close touring car racing, and as much as sometimes you don't like it if it's not going your way, it was really great racing, and yeah, I mean, we can't be disappointed with the 3rd place.
No, exactly right, and I know that. It's just I know that you do prefer that top one, and that's good to hear. That we do have to remember it is great fun racing, great to watch, and great to be part of.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as competitive as it is out there, you know, it only does stay on the track. So, you know, in the podium room, we're all laughing and have a good time. So it is very competitive out there, and I'm sure race 3 will be very, very good with Dalgleish, Paul, and myself coming through. But yeah, no, it's a very good championship. It
is. Well done. Great 3rd position. So there we go. There's the podium for the Cooper Pro class.
Thank you to Chris Dawes for that insight into the drivers' performances on race 2 of the weekend for the Cooper Pro and Cooper AMS. We've had a super morning here at Brands Hatch of racing for a mini challenge with the JCWs kicking things off. We had the Cooper S's, great race from them, and then the Cooper Pros and Cooper AMS. We've got more action for you, of course, this afternoon, but to tell you a little bit more about when you should join us and what else we've got coming up, I'm going to hand you back to Michelle.
Wow, what a race. It doesn't get closer than that. Well done to Robbie too. Well, it's time for everyone to refuel now over the lunch break, but we are going to be back for the grid walk, which is happening at 1:45. Make sure you're there. See you soon.